Hello, everyone. Welcome into the Royals Rundown podcast presented by Royals Review. We're here to talk about Kansas City Royals baseball. Now, how that goes, we'll see. I'm Jacob Milham. This is Jeremy Greco. Jeremy, how many headaches has this team caused you since we last spoke?
Ahoy there, Jacob. I just wanted to use some nautical terminology for our we've had one commenter on Spotify the last 3 podcasts, so I needed to shout out Liz Spencer Cactus Green Bean
That's a hell of a username.
who wanted more nautical terminology. So there you go.
Well, we are on a sinking ship, Jeremy. I will say that.
Yeah, podcasters first. That's how that goes, right? For the
I think
lifeboat?
so. Yeah, I think that's how that goes.
Excellent. Yeah, so what was your question again? I forgot. I
Just
think
how
it was something about how bad is this team, and the answer is really bad.
Yeah, that's a pretty kind way of putting it, Jeremy, I will say. We are recording this just about an hour after the last pitch between the Kansas City Royals and Texas Rangers. The Royals exited winless once again. They are swept for their second consecutive series, and they are now 3-10 in the last 15 days of baseball action.
You know, they're not the worst team in baseball, though, Jacob.
Somehow.
We started the year, we said, man, we gotta beat those Tigers. We just gotta beat those Tigers, Jake. We're still ahead of the Tigers.
Somehow. I don't
Half a game ahead of the Tigers. It's the only team the Royals are better than in all of MLB.
We are it's just a race to the bottom at this point between the Tigers and the Royals, which who could have seen that this would happen in 2026? But
No one,
no,
literally
yeah,
no one.
yeah,
Even the people who were down on the team were like, well, they might win, 75 games, might play close to 500. But most people were like, hey, I think they're going to win 80 to 85 and compete for the division.
yep. And if the season ended to 22-36, folks, we are just past the third
37
mark.
now.
Oh yeah, sorry, I'm looking at Baseball Reference. 37, 15 games below 500. Okay, here's an actual question because Ken, my brother, is an Atlanta Braves fan. He said, "Hey, on the plus side, the Braves are the first team to reach 40 wins this season.
Hey, good for them.
Yeah, good for them." And I jested with him, but I think the best case scenario for this current team we're seeing is them getting to 40 wins by the end of July.
Oh boy.
Like that's kind of the pace they're on right
At
now.
this point, I don't feel confident predicting them for 40 wins by the end of the season.
Oh, yeah, certainly this version that we're seeing. They're about to head back on the road. They got 3 more against the Cincinnati Reds. No rest for them, and then they'll head up north to the Minnesota Twins. We'll look ahead to that series a little bit more.
I need to just point out, because we didn't talk about this on the podcast because I didn't know about it when we did the pre-Rangers podcast. The week before the Royals got to Texas, the Rangers had suffered an 8-inning, 18-strikeout performance by Reed Detmers of the Angels, and they had been pitched the first combined no-hitter since 2024, first no-hitter of any kind, but it was a combined no-hitter from the Astros.
Yeah.
That was the offense that the Rangers brought into this series that saw them score 7 or more runs in every game.
Mm-hmm.
No, wait, today was 6 runs. Sorry.
Oh,
my bad. Today was only 6 runs.
Only. Thank goodness for that. I was really worried about that. If this is just more of the same for the Royals, unfortunately. We're looking at this and like, oh, hey, their pitching is going to be one of the strong parts, right? Like we knew the starting pitching was great. The bullpen was like, hey, we feel like this is an improved bullpen. Right now, over the last 15 games, the Royals have a team of a 5.13 ERA, and that is 4th worst in Major League Baseball and 2nd worst by a very slim margin in the AL.
And
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, and Michael Wacha, who's been like the one really bright spot for this team, did not have a good day by any measure.
No.
And I'm like, I've been saying for a couple of weeks, well, at least the Royals are going to have interesting pieces to trade at the deadline. And it's like, Chris Bubich got to get healthy. Michael Wacha got to keep pitching well. Matt Strom got to get healthy. He's back in the bullpen for whatever that's worth. He had an exact minimum stay on the IL, but he needs to pitch better.
Yeah. Yeah, there's,
Like,
go
even Danny Drips, Jacob, 10 hits, 4 walks in his last 7 2/3 innings. Or that those numbers might not be quite right. I might be off by 1 or 2 on those. I looked them up yesterday, but it's a lot of hits and walks, even though it's only 1 run.
right. It is. Like, that's more of the Daniel Lynch that we saw last season, right? Low ERA, but always on the precipice of having a much worse performance.
Heck, yesterday was exactly the Daniel Lynch we saw last year, where he came in, got 1 out, put on a couple of base runners, and John Schreiber had to bail him out.
Yep. I we're at the point, like, I thought I prepared myself and listeners for, like, hey, this is what's gonna happen if this is a bad team. But the reality is this team is so bad, there are no positives. There's nothing that I can point to and say, hey, you know what? This is why you should tune into a Royals game every so often, at least, because you never know what Bobby Witt Jr. is going to do. Sure, but it's all for naught because
Yeah.
nothing around him is working.
Yeah, it's really disappointing to watch Bobby Witt Jr. There's that old meme that Shohei Ohtani, Mike Trout hits 2 home runs. Shohei Ohtani does something that hasn't been seen since Tungsten Arm O'Doyle in 1910, and the Angels lose 7-3. And that's what it feels like watching Bobby Witt right now. I had taken solace in Jack Caglione's exit velocity numbers. Like, he would just hit the ball hard. It didn't even have to be a hit. And I'd look up the exit velocity and I'd giggle. And I'd be like, oh, that's so funny. But man, it's been almost a full season and he's still not. He was the most consistent hitter for a while. He's really fallen off. So now they have 0 consistent hitters, unless you count Bobby, which you probably can. I Jacob, there's nothing to watch.
No, no, there isn't. And like this is, I stole that saying from Vern in the post game show. I have no ammunition. I have no ammunition, and there's plenty of ammunition right now pointing at the front office, pointing at the coaching staff, pointing at that dugout in general, saying, "Hey, you guys are the problem." That's where we're at right now in the season, and we're talking about this team at the end of May. Like this is the point where the most engaged fans, I would say, okay, what this team is at the end of May is pretty much what they're going to be for sure for the remainder of the season. And this team is awful. It is terrible. Listen to this. Over the last 15 days, the Royals have a team have a 606 OPS. That is third worst in Major League Baseball. Their whip, I believe, as a team is the worst in Major League Baseball. No, excuse me, third worst, the worst in the AL. Like, just results, process, broken, busted. I can't point to the process and say, hey, like this is going to point towards better results. I can't point towards results because that would mean wins in the win
Yeah.
column. There's nothing.
And to your point about the coaching staff, there's been absolutely no sense of urgency from this team at all. I've got a quote here from JJ Piccolo and Andy Rogers' most recent newsletter. There's a lot of frustration without question. We expect to play better, compete better. You can feel the frustration. The guys are just trying to figure out what we need to do to get going in the right direction. The only thing we can do is keep competing, keep believing in ourselves, ask the right questions. Are there things we can do to help us get back on track? Right now, we're searching for it. JJ Piccolo doesn't have any answers. And I'm not convinced he's looking hard enough, because people talk about firing the coaching staff. Matt Quatrero's not getting fired. He hasn't even started his extension. It's not happening. You don't fire a guy before he starts the extension. You can say, well, he's bad, so you should. A sunk cost fallacy. It's just not happening. And if it did happen, JJ Piccolo would be right out the door behind him, because you can't give a guy an extension like that and expect to keep your job. So he's not being fired unless John Sherman decides he's fired both of them. And then we see JJ Piccolo basically says later in this article, We're not firing any of the coaching staff. We don't see any of the signs that make us think firing the coaching staff is a good idea. We don't see any evidence around the league in the history of the sport that firing the coaching staff gets us any wins. And he's not even doing anything to the roster, Jacob, because
No.
I looked this up Friday or Saturday night. I don't remember which. The Royals had the third or fourth fewest transactions since opening day out of every MLB team.
Mhm.
So you're not signing guys, you're not calling guys up, you're just riding with the 26 you got, basically. And
Yeah.
that include the putting the guys on the IL and calling guys up to replace the guys on the IL. So a lot of those transactions, I think I haven't sat down to count out, but most of those transactions I would say are injury related. They're not performance related. We're just let these guys keep riding it out. Just send we finally, put a lineup out there with Carter Jensen at the top and moved Vinny and Salvi down the order to 4 and 5 at least, and they scored 6 runs.
Yeah.
Then Maikel Garcia gets hurt. Lucas Erceg blows up for the third straight game, and the Royals lose anyway.
Mhm. Exactly. And I really freaking hope that there is not a Royals fan out there or a Royals executive out there saying, "Oh, well, shoot, we tried it. It didn't work. It did work. It's just the bullpen blew it." Like that's what it all boils down to. You had
Well,
what,
and
a 3-run cushion?
yeah, and that should be good enough even for a mediocre bullpen, which apparently this one is not. All my optimism at the beginning of the year, I had a lot of optimism about this bullpen. You remember that. I thought,
Yeah.
there's not a lot of proven guys out there, but I think Urseg is going to bounce back. I think Estevez is going to offer some security. I think Strom is going to offer some security. Just need to find a couple of answers
Uh,
out of, the 6 or 7 guys that they're looking at. They got none.
yeah.
They got I mean, Daniel Lynch, but again, how much of an answer does he look like right this second?
So
So it's
yeah. Here's the I okay, I'll call it what it is. I'm calling bullshit on what JJ said about the whole moving on from coaching and moving on from a manager. There's not a history of that. I'm not saying that it's like a surefire solution. I'm not saying it's 100% certainty that the team is going to get better under someone else with different thought processes and coaching perspectives in there. Let's say it's 100%. But damn it, things can't get worse right now.
yeah.
They can't. And I just sent you over via Slack like a list of some recent teams who have had notable improvements after they have fired their manager mid-season. It has happened. The 2022 Phillies made the World Series after firing their manager, for goodness sake. I'm not saying the Royals are going to get back into playoff contention, but we're not seeing competitive baseball right now, Jeremy. Piccolo says that they need to compete and they need to try. They're not competing and they're not trying right now. That is what I'm
They're
seeing.
they look completely lost, and the more I know I was watching for a while and going, "Well, maybe the problem is the manager." And the more I watch, the more I think it's not the manager, it's the general manager and the owner that didn't give the manager a better team to work with. Because okay, let's criticize. What's the manager most known for? Two things, right? Bullpen management and lineup construction.
Yeah.
Well, the bullpen, as we've discussed already today, sucks. There's not an answer in the bullpen. We can sit here and say Lucas Erceg can't be let close another game, but who are you going to put in there instead of him?
Yeah.
And then you look at the lineup, and we've said this. Oh, I don't know how many times we said this, Jacob. Vinny Pasquantino and Salvador Perez don't belong at 3 and 4. Well, who are you going to put in 3 and 4? Well, who does belong in 3 and 4? Nobody. So he could or reorganize the decks on the Titanic, or the deck chairs. That's the word I'm looking for. He could reorganize the deck chairs of the Titanic, but can he? It's on the ownership for not spending. It's on Piccolo for not finding better players. It's
Mm-hmm.
on the coaches for not coaching better. I the I hesitate to blame the pitching coaching, though some people are ready to go there too, because the pitching has been so much better over the past few years that I'm not willing to throw it all away over a couple of months in 2026. Though it does beg the question, was Zach Bove the genius behind all of this? Uh but the hitting coaching, Jacob, what are we doing?
abysmal. It's awful. It just
And you can sit here and you can tell me hitting coaching doesn't really matter in modern MLB. Then why do you have 3 of them?
yeah, yeah. You're obviously investing in the position. You really are. There's nothing for this team to hang their hat on right now. There's nothing that I could turn on a game and trust that the Royals are at least going to do one thing solidly and consistently. Even the fielding's been an issue. That is why that I think that this is a people issue. That's what this boils down to. This is like a lack of competitive fire, desire, even like at least that's what we're seeing. I'm not in the clubhouse. All right. I'm not a fly on the wall or anything like that. I'm not saying that guys don't care anymore, but what I see on the field is guys that do not care. That's what this whole thing communicates. They have 3 6-game losing streaks before the end of May.
Yeah,
That is something we haven't seen since the aughts. The darkest days of this franchise.
yeah. I posted a question in Slack last night asking if this was the like, it feels like the worst team, and I'm like, "Were the odds worse than this?" Because it's, 20 years ago, my memory's a little fuzzy, but
Yeah.
this feels worse. And it's not just there were expectations on this team because I kinda let go of the expectations a week ago, and I still feel watching this team like they look incompetent outside of Bobby Witt Jr. And it makes me understand why people are saying, "Well, they're gonna trade Bobby Witt Jr. any day now." They're not because there's no way for someone to match his value yet.
Yeah.
He's not getting traded till 2028 at the earliest. But they're also and there was some argument, well, they've wasted they're pulling a Mike Trout on Bobby Witt Jr., wasting his prime years, and a little bit, though, the Royals have already done better according to some statistics I saw, done better for Bobby than the Angels ever did for Trout, which is more a criticism of the Angels than a praising of the Royals.
Yeah. Yeah. I concur with that. There is I'm still just settled on the hitting coaching, right? Like I remember when the Hunter Dozier release finally came, right? We had seen the writing on the wall. It was time for him to go, but he got a couple of months to start off the season to see if maybe he could rebound back. And why do certain people get such a long leash in this organization? Because if you say, okay, fine, hitting coaching staff is not developing players correctly. Well, it's a talent issue. Maybe we should go look at the amateur and professional scouting, and we should look at the general manager overall. Okay, well it's a coaching issue, but we're not going to fire the coaches. It's something needs to change. It's a terrible adage, but nothing is going to change if nothing changes.
Yeah, this reminds me of Dayton Moore a lot, and that's
Mm,
something JJ Piccolo had managed to avoid doing until this I would say until since last off season began, since the end of 2025, I felt like I'm watching the Dayton Moore Royals again. And I don't know if that's JJ Piccolo. I don't know if that's baseball because I don't follow other teams closely enough to see if that's how other general managers do things. I don't know if it's the owner. I just know that I'm watching a team that's sitting there going, well, everyone's going to get better. We
yeah,
just got to hang out. Everyone's going to get better. And that was a reasonable feeling to have about some guys in 24 and 25. It is not a reasonable feeling to have now.
no, absolutely not. And I do want to take a quick break, kind of regroup for a second, come back. Let's talk some specifics about Michael Garcia because not everyone's on the same page on what's going on there. All right. And then I want to focus on a little bit of how bad Lucas Ursag has been lately. And then we'll just keep talking about it. Stay tuned. Welcome back, everyone, to the Royals Rundown podcast presented by Royals Review. I really do wish that we had better Kansas City Royals baseball to talk to you about today. But if you want to be on this ride with us, if you're going to be one of those fans who watches 162 games in a season, well, then make sure you follow and subscribe wherever you're listening. All right. So not everyone saw what happened with Michael Garcia. So May 30th, seventh inning. He was rounding the bases against the Rangers, and he exited the game. And it later came out that he strained his right hamstring. We got an MRI on May 31st that is going to determine the severity and timeline of that. But we did get a little bit of an update from manager Mac Potrero after the game today. I'm pulling that up courtesy of Kansas City Stars Jalen Thompson. Q said he's feeling better. We're not going to IL him right now. We're going to reevaluate him tomorrow, have him move around some and see how he is doing. So I mean, doesn't sound like he's going to be out long. Maybe just a few days. Well, maybe we'll see him again in the like as a
Well,
DH or something like that. I don't know.
he's already dealing with some kind of hand or arm muscle strain. Let's go ahead and put him out there with the leg strain too. There's no
Yeah,
way this can go wrong.
I know. Yeah, it'll everything will be fine. Everything will be great. Also, Matt Strom came back from the IL. Eric Sarantola went back to AAA Omaha. Nick Mears, another injury there, with a right shoulder impingement. He was placed on the IL retroactive to May 28th. And
Last time we see him,
it could be. It very well could be.
shoulder stuff lingers,
Yes, it does.
and
Yes, it
impingement
does.
sometimes leads to that thoracic outlet syndrome surgery, and that would have him out until the end of next year, probably.
At least. At least. Um, I know I kind of halted our momentum. I just wanted to make sure that we got those two things out there. And it's like updating on injuries almost kind of feels futile at a certain point
Yeah.
because like it's not I can't point to it and say, "Oh, well, once Cole Reagans gets back, everything's going to be fine. Once Michael Garcia gets back, everything's going to be fine." Like I can't do that in good conscience right now. It's just not the reality that is Royals baseball in 2026. This is a selling team. We should be looking forward to, who is going to actually be the all-star representative. It's probably going to be Bobby Witt Jr., but is anyone else going to make a name for
Hopefully
themselves?
hopefully he gets his first start.
Hopefully. Goodness
I
gracious.
think I think we could see Michael Garcia, again. I think, as if he's healthy, if he can come back healthy relatively quickly. Trying to think who else might be. A lot of our predictions from before the season started are not looking so good.
No. No, they're
Carter
absolutely not.
Jensen not on that rookie of the year path. Jack Caglione not hitting a ton of home runs. Kyle Isbell's been better than normal for Kyle Isbell, but not good enough for an all-star berth. I got nothing, man. Vinny
I don't
Pasquantino,
either.
I hoped would finally get an all-star berth this year. Doesn't look like it. He'd have to get so hot.
But yeah. But yeah. I don't think, Salvi would get like a fan popularity spot even. Oh,
Not unless he announces his retirement, and then maybe the commissioner
yeah.
will pop him in there, or maybe he just saves that for guys who put Bible verses on their caps.
Maybe so. Maybe so. I'm sitting here rubbing my head because of just where we have gone in 2 months, right? Like no
Yeah.
one would have expected that this would be a team by the end of May. We're more looking forward to the draft. We're more looking forward to the trade
No.
deadline. We're more looking forward to September call-ups than the next Royals game. Like I wouldn't have expected this. And this is such a disappointing spot to be in so soon. It hasn't even been 3 years. We got 2 years of winning baseball.
Yeah.
Not even like overall contending baseball, right? Just winning baseball. Very flawed teams, but they ended each season above 500, and that's better than most Royal
I
seasons.
I will say that this team has enough talent on it that I don't think you have to go ahead and throw out 2027 already. I think that if ownership gets behind this team that and spends some money, that we could see we could see them compete next year. You've still got Bobby Witt Jr., you've still got Michael Garcia. I have to believe Vinny's gonna hit at some point. Um, I it's boggles the mind why he just stopped this
Yeah,
year.
yeah.
Salvi is going down, but we talked about this, the outfield has looked serviceable at times. At times, they were some of the best outfielders in baseball. But I really feel like the pressure has kinda gotten to everybody that the losing makes people play even worse than they were because they try too hard, and, so I just how you fix this team, though, next year is by spending a lot of money to bring in some guys who know what it's like to fight through this adversity,
Yeah,
and David Lesky has this concept of a sidekick for wit, where Michael Garcia is not quite good enough to be the sidekick. So you need someone at least better than Michael Garcia to add to this team if you want there to be enough star power to carry them through the difficult times while everyone else figures out what's going on.
I
And
gotcha.
that's gonna take money
Yeah,
because they don't have the trade capital to add to that, um, unless they're gonna trade somebody like Kendrick Churio.
yeah.
Which, I mean, maybe you do that. David Lesky also had a bold prediction before the season that they might trade Kendrick Churio as part of a package to get James Wood from the Nationals to act as that, sidekick. I don't think the Nationals are letting James Wood go at this point.
No, I don't think so.
But and it's funny, I was like, "Alright, you want Cole Reagans? I want Roman Anthony." Roman Anthony's not been that good this year when he's been healthy.
No.
So, everyone's like, "Oh, he's not touchable." I don't know what the answer is, Jacob. One of the guys that people were like, "What if the Royals Fernando Tatis just hit his first home run this weekend?" That I don't know what the answers are, is my point, I guess, but
Yeah,
I'm also you can't just say, "Well, next year is over also, and
true.
let's throw away everyone who could play for the team next year too." I don't think that that's necessarily true. I think that but it is true if the Royals don't wanna get with the program and spend 170 million on the roster.
Yeah. It's if you're not going to use trade capital and free agent dollars to make your team better, then you have to find different avenues. You have to be creative and you have to hit on those avenues. And if they tried whatever gains they tried to get by adding 2 new hitting coaches and trying to replace Zach Bove, like we haven't seen those gains realized in 2026 at all. The hitting side especially, like the processes are just busted. And Jeremy, I do think it's telling that there are multiple players that we're looking at as like this person should be hitting better. Like just not saying like hey they're underperforming some metrics or things like that. Like you look at the player like they should be better than this. Like they're more talented than these results that we're seeing.
Was looking at some of the numbers yesterday. I posted after watching a ground out and a pop up. I'm like, it feels like this team only grounds out and pops up. They don't hit any line drives or fly balls. And then I went and looked, and no, they actually have one of the best line drive rates in baseball. And they have a really good hard hit rate and a really good 90th percentile exit velocity. And I'm just like, well, why don't they hit? And I got in a discussion with BH Wick over on Blue Sky. And eventually we got to the point where he pointed out that, yeah, their line drives are good, though they underperform what you would expect from their line drives based on the angles and velocities involved. They don't hit it on the ground much, though they do better on the ground than you'd think they should because
Yeah.
they hit it so hard. So maybe they do better to hit it on the ground a little bit, but their fly balls are killing them, and not just the pop-ups, it's the fly balls to the outfield. And he broke down the exit velocity numbers by hit type, and you figure out, "Oh, well, they're not hitting their fly balls very hard." And then that caused me to ask, "Why aren't they hitting their fly balls very hard?" Because almost all of their fly balls are going the opposite way.
Mm.
That is we talked about this before, pull air is a key stat when it comes to hitting. You wanna
Yes,
pull
it
the
is.
ball in the air. That's how you're gonna hit it hard and send it far. And the Royals are hitting it in the air the opposite way. And if you hit a fly ball the opposite way, you're gonna end up with an out more often than not. Now, they had a little stretch yesterday where some of those opposite field fly balls, one of them turned into a double for Isaac Collins, one of them turned into a home run for Carter Jensen, but that's not the norm. You gotta pull the ball in the air, and they're just not doing it. And to me, when the whole team isn't pulling the ball in the air, that sounds like a coaching problem.
So here's, clicking around on Fangraphs here. Here's an interesting tidbit. The Royals actually lead the league in May, or they led in May. That's the like kind of split that I'm looking at. In something called squared up contact rate, where they got the most out of their projected exit velocity for like how their swing looked. At 36%. That's better than, that's better than Milwaukee by a percentage point. That's better than the Dodgers by a percentage point. Um they're just they should just be doing better. They have the worst ideal attack angle. We talked about that. We talked about that with Jack Caglione a little bit. As a team in May, they had the worst ideal attack angle percentage in the league. So there's something there. It's it's broken. Teams busted, and I can't sit here and believe that things are going to change without some drastic changes right now, because there's I don't know who is holding who accountable. And of course, this is a business. This is a team. We're not gonna This team has two beat writers, okay? We're not gonna hear all the dirty little secrets from the team. All right, there's not enough folks in the media to put pressure on this team in that manner. But like what JJ said doesn't tell me that he's gonna be holding anyone accountable anytime soon. I'm not
Mhm.
hearing anything from Q that says he's holding the players accountable. It's and like, players need to be holding each other accountable. There needs to be leaders in the clubhouse. But I can't tell you right now who's actually doing that with the full chest, because who's gonna be the one to cast the stone, right? Who's gonna be the one to say, hey, you need to do better when they're not doing very well either. Yeah, I'm pretty exasperated with this team right now, Jeremy. I really, really am.
Yeah, me too.
Um, are there any other like good baseball things? Like I know I talked about the Braves a little bit.
One of the things I really like is Shohei Ohtani. There was some preseason talk about how he wants to win a Cy Young award. He's won the MVP, he's won the World Series, he wants a Cy Young award. Um, I was gonna say his hitting's been pretty down this year. He's got a 150 WRC plus. His hitting is so bad, Jacob.
It is.
Just only 50% better than average. But the pitching has a 0.82 ERA as a pitcher, Jacob.
That is insane. That is insane.
I don't know how that compares necessarily. I'm just trying to look it up earlier. It looks like his numbers aren't included on the season stuff because he's got a 1.9 FWAR as a pitcher, but he's not showing up on the WAR leaderboard. That would be top 10 in baseball.
Wow.
If he was just pitching, he would be one of the 10 best pitchers in baseball. Reed Detmers, I mentioned him earlier. What a season it's been for him, man.
Yeah.
The Angels are awful, but he's trimmed the walks down just a hair. Oh, actually, I guess it's not been that great. 4.63 ERA. But 3.26 Sierra 2.0 WAR already. I mean, is basically a career year, even if the ERA doesn't agree.
Yeah.
The strikeouts are crazy. I'm really happy for him. I don't know why, but Reed Detmers has always been a guy that I'm like, man, I wish he was better than he is. I feel like he could be better. Speaking of Otani, and we mentioned his former teammate Mike Trout earlier. You know who's back playing at a super high level? Mike Trout. He's got a
Yes.
153 WRC plus, 2.4 WAR already this year. That's the most he's had in any full season since 2023. He's looking at maybe looking at you go back to 2022 when he hit 40 home runs and he had 6 WAR, and you say, could he do that again? Um, I don't know if he could do that again. That was almost a 1,000 OPS that year. He's currently at a 910. I feel like he's striking out, or no, he's walking a lot more. Sorry, excuse me. I'm looking at these columns wrong. He's walking a lot this year. Over 20% of his plate appearances are walks right now. Will that continue? I don't know.
Yeah.
It's hard to pitch to Trout with the rest of the Angels lineup being the way it is, so maybe it will.
Yeah.
Cam Schlittler, I know he plays for the Yankees, but he's got a really fun name to say or a terrifying
Cam
name to say.
Schlittler. Yeah.
Schlittler, and
Schlittler.
he's got a 1.5 ERA. He strikes out more than 10 batters per 9 and walks fewer than 2. I mean, w that is some ridiculously good stuff over there.
That it is.
I wish he was on my team, but he's fun to watch pitch when he's not pitching against your team. Paul Skeens is still out there doing his thing. They called up, Connor Griffin earlier this year. Let's look at how he's doing. It's exciting to have a well, I guess he's 20 now, but he
Now
was
he is.
almost a
I
teenager.
think he was a teenager when they called him up.
104 WRC plus out there in Pittsburgh. Okay, I know this is borderline blasphemy, Jacob, but the White Sox are a big fun story right
They
now
are.
for fans of MLB. Murakami, he's hurt, but by golly, he's proved the haters wrong. He can hit that dang Major League Baseball.
That he can.
Their shortstop. Who's their shortstop? Colson Montgomery. He
Yeah.
looks really good. They've got some pitching with Sean Burke and Davis Martin have been doing some good things. Just a lot of fun in Chicago right now. If we were Chicago fans, we'd be eating.
We would. We absolutely would. 5
Dan
games above 500
Antonacci,
there.
my
Yeah.
my boy from Team Italy.
At least one of them's cooking.
Yeah, I'm over here. I'm like, "Sam, thank you for saving me for the Team Italy love." I was so mad when the Royals had to play the White Sox. Like, I have to root against Antonacci. 118 WRC plus for the rookie.
Yeah, he
Look at
is,
him go.
he has exceeded my expectations, I will say that.
Man,
Oh, I mean,
there's some good stuff in baseball happening right now. What's, the Kazuma Okamoto? I wanna see how he's doing.
yeah, I don't know if he's doing too good right now. The Blue Jays have
103,
kinda been
103
middling.
WRC plus,
Okay,
12
well,
homers. I take
unfortunately,
it.
they're 9 games, back there in the AL East, led
Yeah,
by the Tampa Bay Rays.
their pitching imploded.
Yeah, it
And
did.
and I mean that physically, unfortunately. They haven't had Shane Bieber. They've barely had the Dylan Cease was doing really good, but he's hurt now. Trey Savage missed a bunch of the season. So that sucks for the Blue Jays, but, there's I don't know, there's some fun the Imai was like everyone's like, "Oh,
Oh, yeah.
Tatsuya Imai looks bad," but then he pitched 6 shutout, no-hit innings for the Astros on the way to getting that first no-hitter, and he's got the goofy slider that everyone likes talking about. That's fun.
Mhm. That reverse slider, however you wanna call it. Yeah, there's good baseball out there, I will say. So,
What about
what
what about the Reds? The guys we gotta play next. Sal Stewart's been doing crazy things. Ellie De La Cruz is he's been one of my favorite players ever since he debuted, and he's looking more like himself again this year.
unfortunately, he did exit today's game, so the Royals might not have to see him.
Well,
Uh,
fortunate for the Royals, I guess. Unfortunate for me as a fan of watching good players play baseball because I'm
yeah.
not gonna get to see that from the Kansas City side so much.
Nope. Not seeing that. Hopefully, hey, June went so well last year, let's
Maybe
just
it's a
do it
reverse
again.
Uno?
Maybe. Oh, I really freaking hope it is.
June's the only good year this year?
Whatever. That's how it has to be. That's how it has to be. And they're going on the road to Cincinnati, right? And I'm looking at these 3 projected
We're on to
starters for the
Cincinnati.
Royals. Yes, we're on to Cincinnati. These 3 projected
That's an old
starters.
Bill Belichick, quote for those of you who aren't football fans or aren't old enough to remember that. They
Just you
lost badly to the Chiefs, and the reporters kept trying to ask him about it, and he's like, "We're on to Cincinnati. We're on to Cincinnati."
he was just ready to keep it moving, keep it pushing. That's Bill Belichick for you. These 3 pitchers that the Royals are projected to trot out there for their starters, I'm expecting at least 2 home runs each in each start. Luinder Avila, Noah Cameron, and Stephen Kolek are the next 3 up for the Kansas City Royals going on June 1st, June 2nd, and June 3rd. All evening games, by the way. Uh, hey, you'll get to see a stellar starter on the other side on Monday, Chase Burns right now.
Ooh, the
Yeah,
young
7
rookie.
yeah,
Is he
7-1
still a rookie?
record. I think he still has his rookie eligibility.
I'm actually a little bummed now that we know that the season's not gonna go the Royals' way that we didn't get to see Mizorowski when they played the Brewers.
Yeah, that's
That's
true.
another really fun story, just setting records with the velocity over there.
Yeah, he's doing a lot of great things, and
And
always just every now and then, whenever he does something cool, I'll see a Royals fan post somewhere like, how did the Royals not get this kid? He was in their backyard, and yet, like, come on, like multiple teams passed on the Miz multiple times. All right, it
even
happens.
last year, he got called up and he immediately did well, and then he had some struggles,
Yep,
and he ended up in the bullpen for the playoffs. So there
that
were
he did.
questions about his command that no one was sure if they were gonna be answered until, maybe this year.
Yep. Also, congrats on Michael Walker making his 300th career
That
start
is
today.
that
That's
is that is
something I
cool.
missed. Yeah. No matter how bad it gets, like that's definitely one of those milestones that you don't see very often for pitchers. All right, Jeremy, do you got anything else on the baseball front, man? This is
I'm sure there's other really cool baseball stuff going on. Colt Emerson outside of the Royals had a good time. I'm trying to think. Colton Cowser for the
he's
Orioles.
turned things around a little bit. Yeah,
The couple of walk-offs in a couple of days, not back to back because there was a doubleheader game in between. But and they give him the moo. You know how the Royals, Mike Moustakas, everyone would say moose. And when
cow.
Colton
Moo.
Cowser does something good because it's cow, they go
Yeah,
moo.
I'm all for that. I'm all for
Yeah,
that.
I love a good tailored celebration.
Yeah, we appreciate those around here because you
And
don't see them very often.
Adley Rutschman's been one of I was sad when the Royals got Bobby Witt Jr. instead of Adley Rutschman. Obviously, that worked out quite well for the Royals, but he's making a rebound. I'm excited for him.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Oh, well, I'm kind of ready to get on to reviews, man. This is
Yeah, that's fair. I get excited about this other baseball stuff, but it can only hold me over for so long. I'm like, give me some Roy I'm still sad because I didn't even get a Stephen Kolek card in the last,
oh no.
May spotlight. I was like, "He pitched a complete game shutout. We only had 4 of those all year. He can't get a card?" Still no Royals, and at this rate, we might get a Bobby Witt monthly card, I think, at some point.
That's probably all you're getting.
Maybe even this Friday, we'll get a Bobby Witt card. I don't know. But yeah, it's a little bit of a bummer.
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure. I'm gonna review some chips, some crisps, if you will.
All right.
These Great Lake potato
I
chips.
tell the Navy you've suddenly gone British.
Oi. Well, some crisps. I can't really do a British accent. I'm sorry, folks. Sorry I had to put up with that. Truth be told, I picked these up at Marshalls today. Whenever you go into Marshalls,
The heck
they
is
have.
Marshall?
What'd you say?
The heck is Marshalls?
Marshalls is like it's like a discount store. It's like TJ Maxx. But they have
The heck
snacks
is
there.
TJ Maxx?
Oh
No,
my
I'm kidding.
goodness.
I thought TJ Maxx was just clothes, though.
Like it's all home. It's all home stuff. It's pet
Oh,
stuff,
I've
cosmetics.
never been inside of a TJ Maxx. I've just driven by them, I guess.
Gotcha. The ones I tried are they're like kettle cooked jalapeno ranch and sea salt ones. And
Interesting.
I have they're very very good. Uh, my brother said that they are very addictive and told me to take them away. So I did, and I'm probably going to get addicted to them and finish the bag. But
It happens.
if you see it, Marshall's snacks can always be a hit or miss, but Great Lakes chips, I'm definitely going to go back and look for some more. Jeremy, over to you.
You want a long one today or a shorter one?
Let's do a long one. Screw it, go for it.
All right, I finished. I hit the finished. Or I rolled credits. That's the word I'm looking for. I rolled credits on Tales of Berseria yesterday. So I've still got some post game content, bonus dungeon stuff to play through. Finish earning my platinum trophy before I move on. Those of you who are longtime listeners will know that I am a JRPG fiend. And the Tales series is one of the major series I'd never gotten into. Still haven't gotten into Dragon Quest. Don't know when or if that will ever happen. But I when I first saw ads for Berseria, I don't know, close to 10 years ago at this point, I think. I was instantly in love with the world building that they had going on, and so it ended up in my library and just kinda sat there because I've always been afraid to get into the Tales series because I knew it was a big series, but I didn't know anyone that played it. Still don't know anyone that played it, but it had been sitting in my backlog long enough. I guess actually I know, Royals review writer Kevin Ruprecht has played it because he was the one who told me to play it. I said, "Do I play Tales of Berseria or Dark Cloud 2 next?" And he said Tales of Berseria. Um, it was so much fun, Jacob. The art style really pops. It's got an anime art style. It's actually got some cutscenes are anime cutscenes done by UFO Table, which is the same group. I don't know what you call them. The same group that does the what's the name of that anime? Demon Slayer anime, I believe,
Nice.
which is gorgeous art in the Demon Slayer anime. If you haven't ever seen it, uh, I fell off of the story, but the art is just beautiful. And so Tales of Berseria is about a woman a young woman whose brother is sacrificed for some unknown purpose in front of her eyes by her brother-in-law, who she trusted and loved. And then she goes on she turns into a demon and goes on a journey of revenge and meets some other demons, some quasi angels, and some humans who had been demon fighters, and they all join forces to seek revenge against her brother-in-law. And it's a really interesting story because I feel like a lot of these stories hinge on like good versus evil of like this person is good and that person is evil, and Velvet, the main character's name, Velvet is not a purely good person. She is more than willing to not just talk the talk, but walk the walk of being at least a little evil sometimes, of making life harder for other people on the quest to for her vengeance. She says, "I'm a demon. Why should I be nice?" And
Yeah.
it's a good question. And I'm not saying that to be like, well, she's right to make that choice, but it's interesting to see a character make that choice and to follow them through it. Because it's not a choice you see characters make very often.
No.
And I don't know, I really dug the story. Vengeance stories can be, they can be real hit or miss. And I felt like her motivation and the way she went through it and the way everyone flocked to her cause, not everyone, but the people who did flock to her cause did flock. The way that they did do that
Mhm.
was interesting to me, and everything felt earned and justified. So often in these stories, it feels like you have to kind of ham some stuff up to make it work, but everyone had very clear motivations for doing the things that they did and reasons why they believed they were right to do it, or if they didn't believe they were right to do it, that they believed they were gonna do it anyway, and damn the consequences.
Yeah.
Um, and I don't know, I just really dug it. I really dug the art. It's apparently this is a prequel to another Tales game. I don't know, Tales of Zestiria. I don't know when I'll get to that one, but I'm looking forward to it. They had a big PlayStation sale over the weekend, Days of Play, so, they had that one on sale. I went ahead and added it to my library. I'm looking forward to jumping on it someday soon, probably not immediately, because I like to not play the same kind of game back to back because I get burned out a little bit sometimes. But once I platinum this one, I'm not sure where I'll move next, but, I do look forward to Zestiria and maybe some of the other Trails games someday.
Okay. Well, glad to hear all that, and that it was an overall positive experience for you.
Yeah.
But those games do set a pretty
Gonna
high bar for the rest of the
it
genre.
it is a bright spot right now in my entertainment for sure.
There you go. There you go.
I do have to say we did get to, like, the middle of season 7 of Psych, and we did move past the relationship shenanigans, and they're all just kinda acting like it didn't even happen.
Interesting.
which suits me just fine, honestly, because I hated it so much. It was a little weird for an episode, and then I was like, "You know what? That's what I'd rather have anyway," so I just kinda let it go.
There you go. There you go. Alrighty, folks, that's going to do it for today's edition of the Royals Rundown podcast. We appreciate you joining us. Make sure you follow or subscribe to the podcast wherever you're listening at. We're available on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, Amazon, whole shebang. Just make sure you never miss another episode, and keep tabs on this Royal season. If you don't want to watch games, we'll keep you informed. But I'm Jacob Milham. They're Jeremy Greco. Thank you so much for listening, and until next time, go Royals.
If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It really does help the show to grow. Thank you for listening.